Hey everybody, this is Billy at Bakersfield Tuff, and for this next issue we thought it'd be kind of cool to show you guys how to clean your shotgun, and so we're here with Steve, right? And Steve's going to show us how to do it all.
Actually, I picked two shotguns to clean today. One of them is a Remington 870 pump shotgun, which is probably the #1 purchased gun in the United States over the last 40 or 50 years. And everybody's got one somewhere. But what's funny to me is that most people don't realize that those guns will eventually quit working unless you clean them. I'd be willing to bet that most of you guys out there just shoot them, take them home, put them in the closet, and forget about them until next time, which is fine with an 870. But for instance, today I'm going to be cleaning an 870 410 that I probably shot 25 or 30,000 shells through, and it's probably, it's 25 or 30 years old and it never misses a beat. And you can just take the time to do this, and your own gun will last you the same as this one has lasted. Now, yes, my guns have some wear on the outside of them because I'm pretty rough on them when I'm going to the outdoors, but my insides of my guns are always perfect. They work, and I never want to have a problem where they fail because of a dirty gun. You will eventually, if you don't take care of your guns, will have that problem. So anyway, we'll get after it here. First thing you want to do, rule #1 is always think safety. The very first thing you need to do is please check your gun, make sure it's unloaded. And that's what we're doing here. In this case, I've already checked it. I've checked to make sure there's nothing in the magazine. I've also checked to make sure there's nothing in the chamber. This gun is unloaded. And now I'm going to take it apart. A lot of people don't know how to take apart their 870. The 870 is pretty simple. Unscrew the cap. Take the barrel off. They'll be setting all this stuff aside. And when you get to this step right here, this is where it fools a lot of people. Inside, there is a little spring that you depress in here to get your, if I can find it real easy, it's not all that easy to find, but there's a spring in here that you depress right there. It's on the left side right in here. You can't hardly see it. It's right in here, and you just depress it right there.
So you're pushing in on it when you
depress it in,
okay,
and slide the same thing. So you end up with your forearm, your bolt. The other part of the bolt is inside the bolt is your firing. The next thing you want to do, okay, is you want to remove firing mechanism. You have two little pegs that go across. They're very easy to take out. Basically, all you do is to protect your metal with some kind of piece of cloth or something, and then just give it a tap. Give this one a tap.
You shouldn't be hammering on anything, right?
Right. And then now you can just knock these out, no problem. There's one. And there's two. And there's your action. Your action comes out, and that leaves the inside. Your gun is completely ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little trip over to the sink. People don't realize that you can take soap and hot water and clean the action of your gun. That's what I do. Just make sure it's dry when you're through. Put some any kind of light oil or other cleaner over it to make sure that it displaces the water that might be in it.
All right.
But
what gets built up in there? I mean, that you're going to actually clean.
Okay, let me show you.
Yeah.
This has been shot a lot. Probably shot at 150 rounds through it the last time we went out to the range. But if you'll notice,
oh yeah,
see, that's unburned powder, soot, oil that's collected dust. Might be some dirt in there, but we're going to. Actually, we're not quite through yet. We're going to go into the next step right here and take out this keeper right here. You just lift it up. Then here comes the plug, which makes your gun legal to shoot game with. Here comes your spring. And then this is a follower. Okay? Now you can take it over to the sink and wash it,
The whole unit.
the whole unit. And we'll do that with a toothbrush, soap, and hot water.
All right, I'll follow you. Okay, so now we're back at the sink and basically just have dish soap, right? I mean, and there's that pit we
Good
have
old
in
Dawn goes to the rescue, or Ivory,
Okay.
or anything else.
So you dip it down in there and then you kind of just brush it.
Brush it off, get down to all the little hard to reach places. You may have to lift that up to get in there. And don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt a thing. Get every little nook and cranny.
So you're saying how often you think this is a good idea to do this, or does it?
Actually, on an 870, every couple of hundred rounds you should do it. But if you don't, it's probably going to last another 100 or 200 rounds without any kind of complications. I do mine simply because I like my guns to last, because once I get a gun that shoots good, I don't want to have it breaking down on me along the road. Anyway, that's about all you need right there. I've got it pretty well cleaned out, making sure I've got into all the holes, making sure there's nothing left to stick up with. And just, you're going to rinse it off. Make sure you get all the soap out of it. The hotter the water, the quicker it'll dry. Then our next step is take and start doing the inside of the receiver. Now, there's a lot of people that wouldn't consider doing this, but I've been doing it all my life, and my guns are always clean and always functional, and I never have problems with rust or anything like that because I've gotten rid of all the bad stuff from inside of them. Pay particular attention to right up in here,
Where the barrel meets the.
where the barrel meets the receiver. Get up into there, and you really do a good job, and run some water in there, and you can. Now we're done.
Simple.
Pretty simple procedure, works really good. Yeah, last thing I wanted to tell you is before you dump the dishwater out, pour it out slow and check out the bottom to make sure some parts or something of your valuable shotgun didn't fall off. Doesn't happen very often, but it could happen.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay, now what we're doing, we're finishing up with the receiver, making sure that it's good. We're making sure that there's no water left in this, that it's completely dry. At the same time that we were washing these, we washed the bolt and the bolt carrier. So there we sit, we're looking good, ready to put everything back together again. You still need a few things cleaned off. You should wipe off the follower here and that, and you should probably wipe off the spring, but it's no big deal. Then we're going to go over here and make sure that the arms are good and clean. Apparently they're not, but I don't usually do these with soap and water. I wipe these off because it's so easy. One of the ways you can do that is just take a cleaning rod, put a little bit of Hoppies.
Now, what is that right there?
This is called Hoppies number 9. It's world famous, and it has the best smell in the whole world. Anybody that cleans guns knows the smell of Hoppies. Wonderful.
It's got some oil in it.
You know, I don't know what it is. I know it's a petroleum distillate, but see what I did right here? I just went through there to make sure that that everything, and you notice it was a little dirty in there.
Yeah.
And you can see, I don't know if you can see in there against the light how shiny that is.
Yeah.
So it's good and clean. We're also going to do the same thing with our barrel. We're going to run that through there. And this first couple of inches right here is where your chamber is. You want to make sure it's particularly clean because in this era, see there, all that coming out?
Yeah. Is that where most of the powder and stuff sticks into the?
That's where most of your problems will occur.
So what happens when it gets too built up? I mean, does it change the velocity, or does it change?
Doesn't have anything to do with it, but what'll happen is you'll shoot one shot, which will shoot fine, and the next shot, your gun will jam, and it won't put the new shell up in there, or it won't feed it properly into the chamber.
Okay. So this just keeps everything really working smooth.
It does. It does. Then you always clean the barrel.
Yeah.
And the barrel should look like glass.
Where do you get the rod at?
You can get it at any good gun store.
Okay.
they'll have it, or, I mean, just about anywhere will carry them. Okay, so basically, that's it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we have displaced all the water, and we're gonna lubricate. We're gonna lubricate the action with just a little bit. You don't need much.
Okay.
This is a spray on oil. Gonna make sure, most people don't even recommend oiling these, but I put on a little, just a little bit. So that's ready to go back together. That's ready to go back together. That's ready to go back together. Only one thing left to do. Let me make sure that this is, that our tube, this is where all of our, make sure that that's good and clean. Oh, when it is. So that's what we've done now. Now you want to wipe off any excess oil that you have. You don't need to leave it on there, glop it on there. All it's going to do is collect more powder and stuff. But just wipe it off. This has been perfectly oiled. You don't need to put any more on it. This will work properly from now on.
Okay.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put it back together in just the way that we took it apart. Which means we're going to start this by dropping our follower in first. There's our spring. There's our plug. And you have to have this if you're going to hunt in California.
What is that? Why do they demand that in California?
Because it prevents you from putting more than 3 shells in the gun.
Okay.
Actually 2 in the magazine tube and 1 in the chamber.
All right.
Okay? And that's all that is. See, now it's back to working again.
Yeah.
Okay. Next step we're going to do, we're going to put the, oops, I almost made a mistake though. But we still need to put a little drop of oil here and here, just to make sure. We're going to wipe off the excess, slip this in. Always make sure that you have it cocked, the receiver cocked, okay? And what that means is I'll pull the trigger, that's the firing pin, okay? Always make sure you cock it. Put it on safety. It'll go in so much easier. And it will go in there just right. If you'll notice, the holes are just, they line up perfectly. Make sure that everything fits. Put your deal up there, make sure they go on properly. So it's back to shape again. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our bolt.
How much different are like the shotguns? You know what I mean? As like far as, are they all pretty universal as far as the mechanics on them?
No, and that's why I will. Most of these are, yes. I'll show you here on a different gun here in a little bit, but you notice I put a tiny bit of oil and then wiped it off. Okay, put your rails there. Slide your bolt mechanism. It fits right. You'll notice it fits right in place, right there. Okay, then we're going to put it in so it lines up. It's a little bit, needs to come forward a little bit. There we go. Here again, we're going to reach inside. We're going to depress that part. And guess what? It goes right in there. Okay?
There you go.
Next, we're almost done now. If you see oil shining, there's too much on there.
Okay.
Alrighty, now what we're going to do is you just put the cap on. Make sure it goes on there properly. Don't want it. till it stops. Point in the safe direction. It's ready to go.
That's it.
Now what you want to do, what I always do is I'll take my silicone cloth.
Where
And
you
I'll
get-
just wipe off everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything fancy.
Why do you use a silicone cloth versus like a regular cloth?
So it won't scratch
Okay.
anything. Now, one last thing. Say you do find out that your gun's been sitting so long and you've got a little speck of rust on it. And you can take some really fine steel wool. Now this gun's been through an awful lot and there's really not any rust in there, but you can take and wherever you see a spot of rust on there, on almost any gun, drop of blood.
Do you do that with oil on it, of course? Or
I-
no, it doesn't
I
matter?
don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's not going to be, I'm not going to rub it that hard.
Yeah.
But as you can see, this gun has been well used.
Right.
Anyway, that takes care of the Remington 870 pump shotgun. They're all the same, doesn't matter what gauge it is. Have at it, and you'll be amazed how well this gun will last you and keep functioning without any problems after you keep it clean. Okay?
Very cool.